Digimon Time Strange is just about to come out and it looks beautiful. But I just cannot swipe $70 on a game right now, so I thought why not jump into my backlog and play Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition. Specifically Cyber Sleuth, as I didn't get into Hacker's Memory yet, but I plan to in the future as there's more Digimons and a sequel with some returning characters from Cyber Sleuth. Let me give you some backstory first. I fell off with Digimon right after Digimon Tamers. Over the years, I would see some new Digimon designs randomly on YouTube thumbnails, but never really got back into Digimon. But I still remember growing up with the original few series. Do any of you remember Gyumon trying to hide in Takado's room?
Oh, the box. It's just, it's like a box, to hold things.
Regardless, in 2025, right about now, you can grab Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition for about $20, and you can play 2 robust 40-hour stories while waiting for that day one price to drop and those inevitable launch bugs to get patched and to be able to get genuine user reviews on the game before investing into Digimon Time Stranger. So what is Cyber Sleuth? It personally gave me a Persona vibe, even though Persona 5 came out after this. It gave me the Persona vibe in a Tokyo atmosphere, but with the mix with the good old GBA classic Mega Man Battle Network's digital world exploration. Does anyone remember that? Then it also adds in deep monster collecting mechanics, and that's pretty much what Cyber Sleuth is in a nutshell. And here's the thing, this game came out in 2015 originally, and it holds up really well. I am currently playing the Switch version that was released in 2019, and this was the first Digimon story game we got in the West in nearly a decade, only released because the fans literally petitioned Bandai Namco to localize it. That's how much people wanted this game. Full transparency, before picking up Digimon Survive in 2022, I haven't touched the franchise in since the GBA days. And as far as the anime goes, I'd watched Digimon Tamers and a bit of Digimon Frontiers, but then I completely fell off. So when picking up this game, I saw Terriermon as a starter option, and I was like, I have to pick up. So Cyber Sleuth represents diving back into a series I've been away for years, since it's a completely different experience from Digimon Survive's tactical gameplay. In Cyber Sleuth, you're investigating digital mysteries in Tokyo, piecing together a conspiracy that blurs the lines between the real and digital world. It starts with a company called Kamishiro Enterprise. You play as a Japanese teenager who spends a lot of time in Eden, which is a massive virtual reality cyberspace that's essentially the internet in VR form. The game begins in an online chat room where you and a couple of other users are warned by a mysterious hacker about the dangers of Eden. This hacker gives you a Digimon capture program, which allows you to tame Digimon inside the network. Curiosity drives your character to investigate deeper into Eden. You and the other users end up wandering into restricted areas of the network where you encounter your first Digimon. Soon you're attacked by a digital creature called an Eater. These are dangerous virus-like entities that corrupt data and Digimon alike. When your character tries to escape, the Eater actually attacks you and causes your body to glitch between the digital and real world. You wake up in the real world, but something is wrong. Your body is now in a half-digitalized state, like you're part data, part human. This unusual condition allows you to log in and log out of networks in ways normal people can't. From there, you get recruited by Kyoko, who has a detective agency where she becomes your mentor. Her agency specializes in cybercrime, digital oddities, and of course, Digimon-related cases. She assists you as you're trying to find out what happened to your original body, stopping hackers and uncovering corporate conspiracies, and even fixing ACs. Yeah, just like Mega Man Battle Network, in some quests, you'll need to connect jump into an AC access point or a cell phone to help clients. Yeah, some of the side quests are really odd. Anyways, you're exploring cases in Eden, which is pretty much the internet of the future, while uncovering what really happens in Tokyo. Pretty much Eden is what the metaverse would look like by Meta if it cooked a little bit more and people actually trusted Meta. Now, the reason why I feel the Mega Man Battle Network vibe is here because remember exploring the net in Battle Network? Eden is a more modern, better graphics version of the classic game. The themes are very similar. You're traversing networks, hacking into systems, exploring digital dungeons that feel genuinely familiar to Battle Network. But the battle system is totally different. The turn-based is similar to Final Fantasy with a Pokemon-esque typing mechanic, but it's equally strategic. And here's where it gets interesting. There are actually 2 separate types of systems working together. You got the main type, data, vaccine, virus, and free, which work like a rock, paper, scissors, with 3 having no advantages or disadvantages. But then there are also elemental types like water, fire, earth, and wind that have their own advantages. The genius part, these stack, so if you have both a type advantage and an elemental advantage, you're doing massive damage. But even if you're at a type disadvantage, the right elemental moves can help balance things out. Team composition matters is genuinely engaging once you get into it. Okay, now real talk. I sat down one evening just to play about an hour or so, and tell me how after 3 hours, I'm still in the Digilab, just digivolving everything to see what I could unlock. No story progression, little side quests, but mainly just EXP grind, just pure evolution experimentation. I'm just trying to see the whole tree and trying to find out what these certain Digimons evolve. Like, what does Tokomon evolve into? Because he has like 4 or 5 that he can evolve into. Agumon can now has like a black Agumon counterpart that I did not know about, and that's just a few examples. Gabumon also has a black Gabumon design. It's a whole different Digimon. Actually, when I first played Digimon Survive 3 years ago, it introduced me to some of these Digimons I've never encountered before, like Falcomon and Lopamon. Seeing some of these same designs pop up in Cyber Sleuth, it feels like it's a nice full circle moment for me. It's probably how Pokemon fans feel when they come back after skipping 4 or 5 generations and suddenly there are like 400 new creatures they've never seen before. That mix of what is this and wait, this is actually cool, hits different. Anyways, the stat inheritance system is deeper than it looks too. This stat called ABI that increases every time you digivolve or de-digivolve, which unlocks better evolution paths and lets you inherit more stats. So sometimes the best strategy is to actually to de-digivolve your champion back to a rookie, boost that ABI, then evolve it down to a completely different path. Some players in the community spend dozens of hours just perfecting their squads before tackling late game content. And when I found out your digital farms can run in the background when you aren't playing as long as the game is not turned off, oof, my play hours soared. Digimon's Cyber Sleuth's roster is actually over 400 Digimon deep, and every evolution feels like unwrapping a present. Here's a cool feature that surprised me. You can actually text with your Digimon in the farm, which is weird, but it kinda actually makes sense. I mean, they are just data, right? They'll message you asking pop quiz questions or tell you about what they've been up to. It's a generally charming mechanic that adds personality, except for one problem, I guess. The text replies your character says sometimes sounds awkward, or the conversation just doesn't always align. They either sound completely out of place or just doesn't match the vibe of the conversation at all. Still, it's endearing in a janky way. To be honest, it might just be the translating error. Now let's address something up front. This game is Japanese audio only, no English dub. So if you are someone who needs English voices, that might be a deal breaker. And to be honest, when I first got Cyber Sleuth, I was hesitant when I found out it's only Japanese audio. I was not trying to read all the subtitles, especially in a JRPG when they get dragged sometimes. But after seeing some of the game mechanics, I was like, okay, somehow I pulled through, and I'm happy I did. But the story itself is genuinely interesting once you get into it. You're investigating digital mysteries, uncovering conspiracies, dealing with your own half digital existence after an incident in Eden. It tackles some heavy themes: identity in the digital age, consciousness, corporate control, classic, without being too preachy about it. I guess the translation is serviceable. It gets the job done, but some dialogue does feel a bit stiff. It's not a premium localization, but it's readable and you'll understand what's happening. Now let's talk about character-wise. It's a mixed bag. You got your classic edgelord in Arata, who actually does become half decent once you get past the brooding. He really did give me a Matt vibe from the original Digimon. But then there's Nokia. Oh man, Nokia, I don't know. she was odd for me. I just even as the game went by, it was cool that she became friends with Agumon and Gabumon, but other I don't know, I didn't really feel her. That said, the core mystery keeps you engaged. The cases you solve range from lighthearted to genuinely dark, and when the story hits its strides, it really hooks you. I do have a few more nitpicks, so bear with me, but look, no game is perfect. Cyber Sleuth has some head scratching design choices. A lot of the overworld isn't fully built as you unlock more locations like Shinjuku or Shibuya. They are usually only one or two roads with maybe a store or two in it. Eden, on the other hand, does feel a little bit more robust. It does have the dungeons, it does have the Digilab, there's more stuff to do there. But talking about Eden, why can't I access the Digilab from any terminal? There are some terminals where you can choose if you want to go straight into Digilab or straight into Eden, but why isn't that everywhere? I feel like it's a digital base. Why do I have to walk outside of the detective's office just to get to the Digilab? It was just an odd mechanic that they put in that I feel like was not really necessary. The backtracking for missions also sometimes get repetitive too. You'll be running through the same areas multiple times for fetch quests, and while Eden is cool initially, visiting the same digital locations over and over wears you thin. I guess it's something part of its time back in 2015 where we were just doing these fetch quests everywhere left and right. But the problem with that is that the dungeon designs do slowly get repetitive for that. Corridors with random encounters, not much variety, which kind of works when you want a certain Digimon because you get to scan them, but makes the rarer Digimon encounters a longer, tedious task. Like when I was trying to scan Lopamon, he was a rare find encounter and it took me too long. Longer than I want to admit. Hey, wait a minute. I did say scan, right? So, you know how in Pokemon you have to throw a Pokeball to catch a Pokemon? Digimon actually does it in a different way, and I actually think it's so cool. The way it works is every time you encounter a Digimon, you scan them automatically at the beginning of the battle. Usually, rookies and training Digimons give you about 25% every time you see them in a battle. And then the harder, more challenging, like the champions, the megas, if you ever do see them, they will give you about 10 to 20% when you scan them. The whole idea behind the scanning is when you hit 100%, you can get a Digi-Egg of them in the Digilab, and then you can have one yourself. Or you can keep scanning them up to 200%, and this will actually give them a higher ABI and higher stats, which will make it easier for them to Digivolve into their stronger forms in the future. I really like this mechanic because it's not like the classic throw a Pokeball or throw some type of ball like that Pokemon does. It's a different way to do the same monster catching mechanic. The core loop is so satisfying that optimizing your team, unlocking new evolutions, building the perfect squad for the next challenge, that's what kept me going. Going to the Digilab and unlocking new eggs, or hatching new eggs actually, or digivolving certain Digimon to their champions, or see if I could get to their ultimate form. It was really cool. So why am I telling you to play Cyber Sleuth specifically right before Time Stranger drops? Look, Time Stranger's trailers look absolutely stunning, don't get me wrong, but Cyber Sleuth is no slouch either. And here's the thing, it's a complete package. You're getting a compelling story, over 200 Digimon to experiment with, and honestly for 20 bucks, getting a full JRPG and its sequel, not DLC, a complete sequel, that's impossible to pass up. But here's what strikes me. Digimon hasn't gotten the love it deserves over the past two-ish decades. I'll be the first to admit, I didn't give it the time of day all these years, but Cyber Sleuth shows me what Digimon can do when it's given a more serious, grown-up narrative compared to some of the earlier kid-oriented entries. This isn't just a nostalgia bait, it's a legitimate good RPG and stands on its own. And here's the best part. Reviewers constantly point out that even people who didn't grow up with Digimon or weren't hardcore franchise fans can get into it. The mechanics are solid, the story is compelling, and you don't need decades of franchise knowledge to enjoy it. If you like JRPGs and monster collecting games, this is worth your time regardless of your Digimon history. Plus, let's be practical. Time Stranger is launching at full price. I personally like jumping into games a bit later because I don't have to worry about game breaking bugs or even worse, save corrupting glitches. Why not enjoy a complete polished experience while you wait for the inevitable price drop and those day one patches? The Switch version is perfect for handheld play too. This is a game made for commutes, late night sessions, and slowly chipping away at your Digidex over time. By the way, the community does recommend playing on hard mode since the normal can feel too easy once you understand the type matchups, but to be honest, maybe I'm getting too old because memorizing a whole new type chart was harder than I thought, so I stuck with normal. So pretty much this is why I've been playing Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth before Time Stranger releases. If you played it, let me know your favorite Digimon in the comments. I want to know what I'm missing. Mine's gots to be a Kakumon and a Kabuterimon. Yes, I'm like a Digimon Gen 1er, but it's funny saying their name out loud like in the TV show when they're digivolving. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like button and subscribe. But yeah, that's my pitch. As someone who's constantly wrestling with whether to drop full price on the new hotness or play something from the backlog that's actually complete, Cyber Sleuth is an easy call for me. In a world of day one patches, season passes, and games that feel incomplete at launch, sometimes a smart play is grabbing a complete, polished experience that you know will deliver. But let me be honest, if Time Strangers does go on a decent discount this holiday season or early next year, I think I must grab it. The way the trailers are looking, I think I'm already sold, but hopefully the reviews does it justice as well.